everybody. Welcome back to Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen.
Hey!
We are joined today by someone from Mexico City, so I'm going to let her introduce herself.
My name is Ana Maria Moreno. I'm CEO of Mexico Surrogacy Law, located in Mexico City. And, well, I'm in charge of the legal process between the IPs, the surrogate mother, for a successful return to the IPs to their home country.
Okay. Right. We'll add the intro in
You're
later.
good. Do you want to ask? I can see your brain moving. Do you want to ask a question?
Well, there's so many.
I know.
There's so many. Do you represent the surrogate and the IPs? They all in one house, in one law firm?
That's the thing. That is the different thing between the legal process between the States and Mexico.
Okay.
Here, before the legal process starts, the surrogate mother sign an altruistic surrogacy contract in Mexico City. Okay. So in this altruistic surrogacy contract, the surrogate mother recognizes the embryo belongs to the IP. So, since before the embryo's creation, the filiation, the parenthood belongs to the IP since the beginning.
Right.
So that's what she recognized, and we don't have any problem. So we don't have to claim at the courtroom who the father is, or if the surrogate mother is wants to keep the baby. So that thing never happens, because we always use sperm bank donor or egg donor. So the surrogate mother in Mexico City never provides, it never gets a genetic link with the embryo.
Right.
And for Mexico City, the surrogate never is going to be the mother, even though if she wants to keep it, it's not possible.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So that takes then a lot of legal recourse out of all of it. Like if it's set up right from the beginning that they're signing, that they understand the relationship, and the IPs already know that it's their embryo, they're the parents. Does the legal aspect, because I know in the United States, sometimes the legal aspect of surrogacy can really drag out. It takes a month or two, sometimes 3 months to get all the contracts together. Like, does it take that long doing a surrogacy in Mexico?
No, it's not, because in Mexico, we don't have a specific surrogacy law, but we have a jurisprudence by the Supreme Court. So we claim the parental rights at the courtroom, but it's not we don't have any discussion between this surrogacy contract, because the surrogate mother doesn't want to keep the baby.
Right.
Or the payments or the insurance, for example, or no, it works totally different.
Okay. So does a surrogate mother in Mexico get compensated financially?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They get a compensation. The difference here is the surrogate mother signed a contract with the agency, and the agency is in charge of insurance, payment, medical consultations, everything. Is about all the care of the surrogate mother, delivery, payments, hospitals, bills, everything. So she doesn't need to, the surrogate doesn't need to deal with the IP. You have to pay me this and you have to pay me this, because the agency sells the surrogacy process, the surrogacy program, and everything is included in the program.
Okay, so included in that program, because that's kind of how the US works too, where the surrogate just goes to the agency, kind of divvies up the money and the payments and all of that. But is she given a flat fee for her services? Like, let's hypothetically, $20,000 to carry a baby, and then the extra, we're going to pay for your insurance, we're going to make sure that the delivery room's covered. Is she given a flat or a base fee That's what I'm curious about. No or yes?
No, no, no.
So
It's
she doesn't get to, sorry, she doesn't get to take home any money.
no, what I mean is she gets a full compensation.
Okay.
Obviously, as an extra is the insurance, the payment, the hospital care, and everything. And she doesn't need to pay anything
Okay.
of her money.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Because like, you know, Anna Maria, you already know, like in the States, surrogates start out at like 40 or 50 grand. That's just their compensation. And then everything else is on top of that. That's not how it works in Mexico. Am I
No,
correct? Okay. Okay.
no. And actually, the compensation is different. I mean, the States is more expensive.
Yeah.
And in Mexico, that's the reason the IPs prefer sometimes, they cannot afford up the surrogacy process in the States, and they prefer to come to Mexico because it's cheaper here. Not so cheap as you think, because the surrogate mother gets a compensation of 15,000 full.
Okay. So she does get a base of 15,000.
Yes,
And
that's the full. Yeah,
that's full. That's hers.
And also, in Mexico City, always they transfer one embryo.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get a twins pregnancy, but sometimes it happens, and they get an extra, for example, because they get pregnant of twins.
Okay.
So,
For the extra baby.
If she gets a cesarean, absolutely, she would get
a little extra. Okay.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
That makes sense. That makes sense then.
Yes.
Okay. So
how do they find you? Are you with an agency or are you independent and like people just come to you?
Well, I work for an agency, absolutely. It's Mexico Leading Surrogacy, but Mexico Leading Surrogacy has the legal department, which is Mexico Surrogacy Law. So we are working together. They got the programs and we take the legal process.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Kind of a one-stop shop.
It's also like it's not like the States. For example, you go for a transfer to the laboratory, and then you have an external lawyer who is in charge to manage and everything. Here, the agency has everything: lawyers, doctors, laboratory, embryologists, hospital. Everything is inside.
Oh, how lovely!
Yeah, that's nice.
That's great. Yeah, I like that a lot. So is surrogacy, obviously there's an agency for it. So I mean, how many women are doing this in Mexico City? Like, do you have I don't know, how many surrogates do you have right now? Can you say?
Right now, in this month, we already got 20 surrogate mothers pregnant in this month. In 2 weeks.
Wow, in 2 weeks? Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yay. Wow. Okay. So, okay, then let's back it up a little bit. IPs come to you because maybe the financial aspect of being in the States is too much and they want to look at other options. How long would it take them to get matched with a surrogate in Mexico?
That is a very interesting question. In Mexico, you cannot choose the surrogate mother.
You cannot choose.
Cannot choose you. No. And the surrogate mother also. The first step is a social test.
Okay. Yes.
Then this is a psychology test, all the tests. And if you pass all the 3 tests, you will become a surrogate mother, because the psychologists, because the social services, because the doctors said you pass all those checks, you become a surrogate mother. You are very healthy. You are good in your mind. You don't take drugs. You don't consume alcohol. You don't smoke, and all those stuffs. And then we have an IP, for example, from Sweden. They come and he or she or this couple will sign with this available surrogate mother. They don't have an interview, or perhaps they do. Before travel to Mexico, I want to have a meeting, a Zoom with my surrogate before meeting in person. And that's how we met. Once the surrogate pass all the checks, if she doesn't, all the women can get children, but not all women are mentally strong to become a surrogate.
Agreed. Agree.
Right.
That's very interesting. So you
Very.
probably don't have a very long wait once everybody passes all the checks. It's kind of like, okay, here's the IPs that are ready. Here's the surrogate that's ready. We're going to match them. Is that kind of okay?
Yes, technically the doctors are they who decide,
Okay.
but you already pass all the checks. You
Yeah.
get your checks done, and then the IP comes, this surrogate mother is done with their checks, she will sign a contract with the next IP.
Got you. Okay.
Oh, so it just goes in line.
It goes in
Yeah.
line.
Like you
Yeah.
pull a number and that's who it is.
That's fascinating. Yes.
Mhm.
Very interesting.
Very fascinating. So that, well, okay. Because a lot of surrogates in the United States, and I don't really know of other countries, it's all about, we want to have like maybe a relationship with the IPs. We want to be able to, form a bond. And that seems to take a while for the matching process in the States. It really does, because people want to make sure people are compatible.
Right.
That doesn't seem to be the case in Mexico, which it's very intriguing to me, very intriguing. So how many of your surrogates kind of remain in contact with the IPs they were placed with? Do you guys? Oh,
Well, I know for a lot of people, even for the surrogate, it's very important, that feeling, that match now.
Yeah.
But if you have this match, and once you start the surrogacy process, how about if the gynecologist finds you something and you cannot become a surrogate?
Right.
When when it did not pass your checks because you have something that doesn't allows you to continue with this process.
Yeah.
So we always let them know, with the surrogate mothers, what we have, they already passed all the checks. They got all the checks. There is nothing that the IPs, you don't need to send the surrogate for consultation for everything. We already, as I told you, we have laboratories, doctors,
Yeah.
everything here. So,
Are there any problems ever with personalities clashing then, because they don't get to
pick,
be picky?
Absolutely. For example, I have some surrogates, they decide, once the baby born, I don't want to see the baby, I don't want to keep in contact with the IPs. Some others, they decide to still in contact, and there is not a problem. It depends. We respect the woman's feeling.
Yeah.
And her decision is up to her. No, it's not to the IP.
Okay. I got that. So then what would you say, what are a surrogate's rights when it comes to contract then?
Well, the first contact between the surrogate and IP is the agency. Absolutely.
Okay.
And the agency, the surrogate signed the contract with the agency. What the agency offered to the surrogate mother, she has a lot of rights. It's her body.
Okay.
Obviously, once she starts this process and get involved in surrogacy process, the agency assume all the costs. Even though if she doesn't pass the checks, we already paid for it.
Okay.
We let them know, you have this problem in your body, but you have to continue outside your treatment, medical treatment.
Okay.
And, we assume all those checks, all those tests, psychological, social, everything.
Okay.
And then once she signed with the IP, she gets an amazing insurance. She has the right to come to the clinic, doctors, the best hospitals, the best doctors, everything. She's full cover. She gets the compensation on time, and she doesn't have to spend any penny in this process. And we are in charge of her after delivery also.
Okay.
So until she is released from hospital.
Okay. So if, let's just say, pregnant, the embryo splits, there are twins. I understand the extra compensation. But what if the doctor, her OB, puts her on bed rest at, let's say, 30 weeks? And let's just say she has, well, maybe I'm jumping. Maybe she has an outside job. Maybe she works. Are they not allowed? Are they allowed to work while they're being a surrogate? Yes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if they put them on bed rest, then how is she going to make sure that she has enough money, quote unquote, to feed her family per se? If she's on bed rest, is she getting supplemented from the IPs? Is that in her contract or no?
It's not.
It's not.
Okay. Okay. Because that's a big thing that's in the United States contracts. Okay.
Yes, I know. I know in the States, some clauses
Yeah.
are a little bit for us as lawyers, or
Yes.
so they, for example, they say no, the surrogate mother is not allowed to have sex.
Right.
For example, no,
Right.
during the first 12 weeks.
Right.
And
That was in my contract when I had triplets.
oh my
Yep.
God, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Yeah.
12 weeks, no
Yeah.
sex.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how many, if the surrogate does really well and she had a great experience and she would like to do the process again, do you guys have a limit on the number of times that a woman can be a surrogate mother through you?
Well, that decision is made by the doctors.
Doctors?
Yeah.
Okay.
If in your first pregnancy as a surrogate, everything were so smooth, there is not a problem to apply for the second time.
Okay.
But if you have terrible pregnancy, doctor will say it's not possible to continue, your life is in risk.
Okay.
Okay.
Like preeclampsia, something like that would negate you from becoming again. Because in the States now, they limit how many times you can do surrogate based on how many pregnancies you've done. Is that correct, Kennedy?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not really the case in Mexico. It's just each subsequent time maybe they want to do it, they have to get cleared by the doctor, and at any time it could be yeah, no, or okay, you're good to go. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Always
right.
the doctors is our boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Wow. So
Well, for example, we have sometimes a very religious IPs, and they want to state in our agreement for the surrogate, no, the mother is not allowed to eat pork, and I say no, that's not possible.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Only she will drink almond milk. Or that. No, that's not possible also.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
it doesn't work with like the States, like
Right.
it's possible to do it, but
Right.
not here.
Okay.
Have you ever had a surrogate from the States come to you guys and work with you, or is it just Mexico?
Just
Well, normally our surrogates, they live in Mexico City. We don't have a problem of nationality, but you need to, if you are a foreigner, you need to have your immigration permission to sign that kind of contracts.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That makes sense.
Understood.
And
But normally what I know, because I work here in Mexico, what I know now, they are getting surrogate Mexican American surrogates.
Okay.
And that's what they call cross-boarding program. All the pregnancy is here.
Okay.
They get pregnant in Mexico. It's cheaper here, and delivery in the States.
So that the baby has national or citizenship.
The American nationality.
Right.
So, okay, so then by that, would her rules be based on Mexico and not the States?
In cross-border programs,
Yeah.
during the pregnancies, if we have an emergency, it will be covered in Mexico, everything. Delivery and a lawyer from the States.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
Is that a big
I don't do that kind of process because the border is far away from Mexico City.
Yeah.
Because when I get IPs from the States, the baby gets immediately American citizenship with a problem.
Right.
So they were in Mexico, the babies are going to be Mexican American.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't need to do a cross-boarding process. But for example, you have citizens from Japan, and they they cannot apply for American citizenship, and they decide to go for a cross-border program.
The
But
baby.
we don't manage that kind of process. Our doctors wants to be in charge of the pregnancy. If the doctors, they get you pregnant, they will get your baby out. So,
That's cute. That's cute. Have you guys had any multiple pregnancies from surrogates?
normally we transfer one embryo. In
Yeah.
Mexico City, the surrogate mothers, they don't accept two embryo transfers.
Yeah.
But
None have split?
most of the time one. They say being pregnant is difficult. Can you imagine twins? No way. Yeah.
No.
They say one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what they do in the States, just one. And then
Yeah.
sometimes they'll have what they call a tandem surrogacy. They have two surrogates and they put one egg in each. So that's how they get their twins. Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
interesting. Mhm.
And other thing, I just, please, girls, clarify me. I am not expert in surrogacy law in the States.
Yeah.
For example, if you have gay marriage,
Mhm.
and both, let's suppose they split the eggs of the egg donor, and they transfer two embryos, one from one father and one from two other father, two embryos from different father into the surrogate uterus mother.
Yeah.
Here in Mexico, that's not possible.
You're not allowed to do it. Okay.
From two different fathers, it's not possible.
Okay.
And it's not allowed.
Okay.
So if in case some IPs want to do this, they need two surrogate mothers.
They need two.
Oh,
Okay.
you need
They would
two
need
in
two.
that
Okay.
case.
Even if the surrogate mother agreed, because in the States, she could agree to carry, try it anyway. But in Mexico, it's not, it's off limits. Okay.
No, the surrogate mother one with this, she knows she
Yeah.
is pregnant of IP number one, and the
Okay.
second is pregnant with IP number two. But because when she gets pregnant,
Yeah.
she wouldn't know who the father is.
Right.
No, that's not possible. It's not allowed in Mexico.
Okay.
Okay. And earlier you had said that the surrogate has rights over her body. So what if there is a complication or she's at high risk for something? Does she get to choose, like if the doctors are recommending that she terminate the pregnancy, is that she chooses, not the IPs?
Well, here in Mexico, it's more important the surrogate mother's life than the baby.
Okay.
If the doctors say your life is in risk with this pregnancy, we'll stop the pregnancy. Even though the IPs, no, we want to continue. No, the surrogate mother here is our priority.
Okay, good.
Like
That's good.
That's great. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice. Wow. This is so different than, I mean, I'm very intrigued.
Absolutely.
Very
Absolutely. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different. So how did, wait, how did you get involved, Ana Maria, in doing this?
By mistake.
Okay. You probably should have asked that in the beginning. So how by mistake? How by
mistake? Well, I've been working in surrogacy cases since 10 years ago. Actually, I was the first lawyer to get the birth certificate with two fathers in the whole country.
Wow.
Fathers. And well, I'm very proud to say this, but we create jurisprudence in this country. So that's the reason we can represent two fathers, and we can get the birth certificate with two fathers, the birth certificate, or single father or single mother, not genetically connected with the embryo, or two girls with a problem.
Okay.
Oh, amazing.
Gosh, that's great. So you've been doing this type of law for 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
You just kind of stumbled across where you're at now.
Well, now it's even though it already passed 10 years, we don't have any specific law like a surrogacy process or a specific law. But now the jurisprudence allowed the same-sex couples to get involved in human reproduction assisted.
Okay.
That's great.
It is.
You guys must have more IPs now because you guys can be open to so many different types of couples.
Yes, but that's odd because the States is very close to Mexico, and most of the time our IPs come from Europe, from Spain, from France, from Italy, from Sweden, from Australia, and we don't have a lot of American citizens here.
Interesting. Okay.
Very interesting.
Is there a reason that all those other countries are coming to Mexico? Is it kind of the financial aspect of it because the states are so much more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
is the payment.
Yeah. And can I ask, and you do not have to relinquish if you don't want to, what in American dollars, if you could, maybe a guesstimate, what does a surrogacy cost an IPs if they come in and they're just putting one embryo in? Is it 50,000? Is it 100,000 for a
60,
cycle?
60, for example, I give you an idea. An American couple, if they decide to start a surrogacy process in Mexico City, they have to pay around 65,000.
Okay.
And
that
the
includes
legal part is
included in that?
Is included. The legal process is included.
And is the surrogate's base included? It's all included in that?
Yes.
I'm surprised you people aren't getting flooded with.
I know.
Because that's affordable. Like,
yeah.
I mean, some people, I know of an instance where they're selling houses, they're taking second mortgages on their homes to actually try to get to be able to do infertility treatments, hence surrogacy. Wow, that's
reasonable.
Reasonable. And your agency is able to stay profitable with that amount coming in, right? Because you're all in-house. Everything's there. Yeah. That's very ingenious. Yes.
Wow. Yes, we don't have to deal with external lawyers, with the doctors, with embryo transfer, and take your pill and take the progesterone or something. We provide everything to the surrogate.
Do you require the surrogate to go to like a monthly support meeting, either by Zoom or in person? Do you provide any of that or recommend it?
During the
pregnancy, yes.
Well, absolutely. Okay. There is another, perhaps in this part, the states are more open, but once she gets pregnant, the meeting Zoom of the video phone calls is through the agency between the IPs and the surrogate mother.
Okay.
We have coordinators always at the hospital, and the IPs want to see the ultrasound. We set up a Zoom, a WhatsApp video or so, and they can see the baby, they can talk with the surrogate and everything. During the pregnancy, the communication is through the agency. And you won't let me like girls, because, can you imagine an IP from Sweden and the surrogate and the baby here in Mexico City? Right. And the IP, sometimes they get very nervous. And if they see the surrogate mother taking the children's out at the park, or for example, someone is smoking close to her, they make a drama in their mind, and they calling us, oh, she was next to some person who was smoking or drinking or so. And sometimes they are very nervous. And sometimes the surrogate mothers, oh, he texts me every day. Oh my God, that's terrible. Makes me mad or sad. Did you already eat? Did you take your pill? Did you take that? And so we prefer the pregnancy, the control, the appointments is through the agency. Once you have the baby, they can invite you to Sweden, to Germany, to Spain, to you and to all your family if they want. But during the pregnancy.
Okay. Oh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I do like that because it kind of pulls back on drama.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes. The surrogate always request me, please don't give my telephone number. Every day they want to see me in the ultrasound.
So then
come on, or
so then you don't allow them to communicate with one another other than for like appointments and no emails, no WhatsApp, none of that
No
stuff?
WhatsApp between them during the pregnancy.
Okay.
That sounds so peaceful.
Yes.
I honestly, it's got a really good ring to it because so much can be created from that drama.
Well, yes and no, because it
Yeah.
also, I feel like it has like a small con where it doesn't really allow the surrogate and the IPs to form a deep connection. But
I don't think
to
that's
save, no, I know, I think
yeah.
to save drama,
Yeah.
I really could have used that in my last journey.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, some IPs, for example, straight couples. I don't know if you were involved with a straight couple program, but you
Yeah.
always women, and I am women also, a woman also.
Yeah.
They are very nervous, you know. But they are very demanding sometimes.
Yes.
And the surrogate mother, they already have children. They experience pregnancy.
Yeah.
And they say, oh my God, of course I will go tomorrow to my appointment with the doctors and everything. So during the pregnancy, communication, videos, phone calls is through the court.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my last journey I helped my first two, it was for two gay male couples, and my last journey was for a heterosexual couple, and it was not good because of the reasons that you're saying. I know not all heterosexual couples are like that, but it was definitely hard for her to release control in it because she couldn't do it, and she made that very well known to me. So yeah, but I do like it for that aspect, because that is that could save people from it.
And you have all types, right? You have intended, like gay men, lesbian women, heterosexual, single moms, single dads, the whole gamut, right?
Dragas if you want.
Okay.
Drag queens, everyone.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
That's awesome.
Drag queens are welcome.
Oh my gosh.
We welcome.
So is the agency, somebody from the agency is always available to the surrogate 24/7, or is it like a Monday through Friday thing?
Well, coordinators are available 24/7 in case of an emergency.
Yes.
So abortion, you are bleeding, you call the coordinate, and she will take you direct to the hospital. As I told you, the hospital is there, doctors are there, laboratory is there, and always we have personal.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if they had like a lifeline, and they do for coordinators. That's great. Wow. Wow.
So,
and also sometimes I got obviously not all couples are like this, but sometimes straight couples let me know, once the baby born, I want to take the baby immediately to another room, and I don't want the surrogate mother see the baby, and that kind of stuff. And we say stop, because as we are in the same team, agency, lawyers, and everything, we have to stop the IPs. We don't let them know to continue with those ideas. We say the baby will stay at the hospital next to the surrogate, because it's for security.
The baby stays in the room with the surrogate?
Sorry?
The baby stays in the room with the surrogate?
I mean, no, immediately. The baby is
incubator.
Absolutely. And then the hospital, the nurse bring the baby to the surrogate, because for security reasons.
Okay.
Because the law assumes if you deliver a baby, you are the mother. But it's for security, for the baby, for the surrogate, and for everybody.
Yeah.
So sometimes they say, no, I don't want the surrogate mom to see the baby. We say, stop.
Yeah.
Of course, she will see the baby.
Okay.
Good.
And
I like it.
And
do the IPs get
to deal with all kind of IPs. Others are, can I take the surrogate mother to Germany for the first year? Sometimes we do.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. So
here.
So it is, because something that we talk about a lot, we encourage surrogates, because here it's encouraged to put in your contract
Yes.
to have at least 1 hour with the baby without the intended parents in the room. So that way you get your own closure. Because and sometimes that's a very taboo subject.
Yeah, it's met with abrasion. Right.
Yeah. So it's really nice to hear that you guys are like, no, she needs to see the baby. Yeah.
Well, the hospital has the visit time. Once the surrogate mother is at the hospital, the IPs can visit the baby at the hospital. Is when the baby is in the room with the surrogate next to her. That's when the IPs go and visit the baby, the surrogate, and everything. Once the visit hour is over, they have to go. And you are in your room recovering with a coordinator that you need. In your
I love
room,
this.
with your shower, with a nice dinner and everything.
So the IPs are not getting their own room at the hospital to deal with the baby for the first 24 or 48 hours before they leave the hospital. No, they're not. Very interesting, because in the US, yes,
They
get their
do.
own
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Now, here is the nurse. The nurse is in charge of the baby, the first 20, and the pediatrician, the doctors, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a visit hour, they take the baby with you.
Okay.
Some IPs, it's not included, it's not a stay in the contract, it's like as a favor. If you can extract milk and give or breastfeed the baby.
Okay.
Sure.
And if you don't have a problem, if there's normally the surrogate, Mexican surrogates, they are very close. They have a lot of feelings. We are Latin women. They have no problem. I will feed the baby the first week or
Yeah.
Oh. But it's only during the visit hours the IPs come, they see the baby and spend 3-4 hours over, go home.
Amazing.
That's
amazing. That's so different. So different. Yeah.
That's drastically different.
Yeah. Anna Maria, have you ever been a surrogate, or are you just on the legal side of it? Have you ever done surrogacy yourself? No?
No, but I was a donor once. I was a donor when I was younger, with 25 years old.
Okay. So you were already involved back then, and you probably didn't even know it. Like, that this was going to be your path.
Absolutely. I have a yellow children. I don't know where.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, that's a great attitude.
That's so funny.
You have any more questions?
It will be my children. They are my children.
Oh,
so cute. She's looking. Got any more?
Of course, most of the time here in Mexico City. I know in Mexico we have agencies, of course, other agencies from different parts of the world. They come to the country, they open their agency, they get the surrogates, they recruit the surrogates, they go and found a laboratory, but the bad thing, they are facing legal problems when the baby born and when the IP wants to travel back to their home country, because they don't have no idea what are they doing in the legal statement agreement. They don't have no idea how to claim the parental rights at the courtroom, because it's very specific law. And you will hear in the news, or you will read in the newspaper, a stock IP from the States, 6 months in Mexico, and you will hear a lot of bad news. Because they don't have any idea how to do the things correctly,
Right. Yeah.
And you can listen, oh, the surrogate mother was not paid. It's not acceptable for us. Never.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very interesting.
And Maria, is surrogacy welcomed in Mexico? Like, are people people are people outside of Mexico City, are they like in the States, it's becoming more common and accepted. How does Mexico feel, like the majority of Mexico feel about it though?
Well, in Mexico City, it's very open. It's the capital. We are very open. You will see couples with their children in the school and everything. We are open, and the courtroom is also very open
Oh,
with
good.
those kind of cases. If you ask me, in the whole country, I can tell you, Mexico is a big country.
Yeah.
We can find a very Catholic states. They don't have they don't still have the same-sex couple marriage, for example.
Right.
So it depends which part of Mexico you are talking. So that's the reason we never go to work there, because they are very Catholic and
Yeah.
we prefer the city.
Very good.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
how funny. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh.
Wow.
So what does happen after delivery? Is contract over? Like she has baby and now they all get to leave the hospital. And so now is she done with agency and lawyers and everything like that, or does she have to go to the courtroom as well?
Once you have the baby, you will go, you are released from the hospital, and then you will continue with the consultation until the doctor say you are okay.
Okay.
You know, and then what are we gonna do next? This is that work belongs to us, to me directly.
Okay.
We present our petition at the courtroom saying we celebrate, we sign a surrogacy contract. The surrogate mother is not the biological mother. The IP provides sperm sample, the embryo was transferred, and everything. The courtroom, the judge will order to the civil registry to get the birth certificate with two fathers, one father,
Okay.
two girls, or the straight couple. But before this, the surrogate mother only go once at the courtroom, because the judge want to make sure if she wants to sign this document, if she's agree, the couple takes the baby to another country. And obviously the surrogate mothers, they know perfectly the baby doesn't belong to them, you know, and she signed, and it's the only time I take the surrogate at the courtroom.
And that is after birth, not prior to birth, right? It's not a pre-birth judgment.
No, it's not.
Post. Okay. Because US does a lot of pre-birth judgments where they all go into court and they get it all ready to go, and they take their papers to the hospital, and then they give those to the clerk at the hospital, and that's how the birth certificates are written up there. And then you go to the county clerk and pick up your birth certificates with your names on them. So
yeah, I know this because most of the time American citizens ask me for a pre-birth order, and I say, what's that?
So funny.
I never heard about that.
Yeah.
But now I know how it works.
Okay.
Because sometimes the courtroom thinks, or the judge thinks, once the surrogate see the baby, she fall in love, and I prefer to take her.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. It really seems like you really support your surrogates. I just wasn't sure because we hadn't talked. I'm very, what do you want to call it? Just pleasantly surprised and pleased. I mean, it just seems like they're really supported. You really put them like number one. Their health is
absolutely. Most of them, we have a incredible good relationship with the surrogate.
Yeah, lovely. That's lovely. And then do you find that they go out and say, I just had this great experience to maybe a friend or two of theirs, and then they get referrals into you guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I bet.
So you work with an agency, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So in case anybody, I don't know if people in Mexico know about this podcast.
No.
But what's your agency called?
Well, the legal department which I represent is Mexico Surrogacy Law.
Mexican Surrogacy Law. Okay.
Yes.
That's the legal part of it.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
Who are the first contact between the agency, the IP, surrogates, and everything.
Okay. You're the first contact.
Well, I have my team also.
Right. Okay. But this part of the agency is the first point of contact,
absolutely.
Right? Okay. Understood.
It's so different.
Yeah.
I love it though. I love how you guys are set up. It's refreshing.
Yes, it's
Nice.
totally different.
Yeah.
As I
It
told you,
works.
I just as when some IPs come from the state, they request me to write some statements, and I said, "Oh, this is not possible to write it," you know,
Yeah.
and
Right.
because they have this idea in their mind
Yeah.
that it works like the state, and I say, forget about the states. Here,
Yeah.
and it works totally different.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing how it does work.
I know.
I didn't know any of that. I
No.
really didn't.
Nothing.
This has been like an eye opener.
It's been very, very educational. It's
very educational.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Well, girls, do you have more questions?
Do you have any more, Ken?
I don't know. Maybe we already went over it. Can a surrogate or an IP negotiate terms in the contract? Or do you guys just give it and you're like, no, this is it?
The only clause is negotiable is some IPs decide, could you please pay it, for example, once you have the baby, the IPs request us, could you please pay the half amount, and once she signed the documents at the courtroom, pay the other half, because they are afraid that
Oh, okay.
so it takes me like 3 weeks until I made the full payment. This is the only negotiable clause. The other ones is not possible.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So then, okay, then that just leads on to the surrogate then would have all of her compensation no later than about 3 to 4 weeks after birth. About then. That's nice. So does she get something monthly? And I'm just going from experiences from the state. Does she get like a little monthly stipend, a little bit until the birth, and then she gets the rest? Or do you do a half and a half?
Absolutely, as I just said.
Okay. Okay.
Monthly.
No, that's
lovely.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and are you, and I know this is a weird one, but how are you giving that compensation? Are you direct depositing or are you writing checks?
The agency transferred into her bank account.
Okay. There you go.
Nice.
So the IPs, they don't transfer any money. The IPs pay the full program to the agency.
Right.
The agency manage the payment.
Yep.
Okay.
They pay you direct.
Yep.
You don't have to remind the IPs, the money is not in my bank account.
Right. Right.
And then I have not a weird question, but as far as medications for the surrogate, we know that there's injections involved and oral medications and things like that. Does the surrogate get the instructions and then be responsible for her own injections, or does she have to come into the agency and the clinics and get all those injections?
Well, as I said before, we have coordinators. Those coordinators have been surrogate mothers before.
Okay.
So they have all the experience, and they support the new surrogate mother with injections, with the it's time for your injection, it's time for your pill, it's time for this, it's time for this. It's a reminder.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, because I mean, you're all going to a common goal. So, and if you get busy with your kids and sometimes you forget and you're just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yes, and you have the coordinator who's
right.
Hello, it's time.
It's time.
Okay. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So the coordinators are really, really involved with the surrogate. Really involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never go alone for an ultrasound, because the coordinators report immediately, and the IPs know how the ultrasound was, if you need something, if you got the sugar test or the pee test or blood test or everything. They know every detail. Just so you don't need to report direct to the IP. Everything was great here. Here you are, my ultrasound. No, the agency reports direct to the IP, not the surrogate. The surrogate.
Yep, that's great.
You don't have to worry about.
It's nice.
Anna Maria, what if IPs and surrogate want to talk outside of the agency? Is that allowed?
Well, the surrogate mothers they already know.
Okay.
We prefer not to have this contact direct.
Okay.
The pregnancy. Once they have the baby,
then they can
share the emails, numbers, phone calls, photos, WhatsApp, everything,
Okay, interesting.
because they know sometimes IPs can get nervous and anxious, and so we prefer to be to coordinate all this. But as I say, they are independent women. If they want, they share on internet, Instagram, or everything.
Right.
It's outside, and if something happens, well, she needs to be responsible also.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, no. Very educational. I feel smarter today.
If you have a question in the future of surrogate mother involved in a cross-border program, and she has a question, all the legal advice, what I always offer is free charges. We don't,
Oh,
if we have a question from IPs, they call me, we always give the right information, what the IPs are going to face in this
Right.
country if
Right.
they don't have the right information.
Correct.
The last thing we want to have is a stock IP here in the country, because the agencies, the foreign agencies from France, from Spain, they just decide to open an agency here, no idea about the
Yeah.
legal process, and that is a completely mess, because the surrogacy is not a nightmare. When you do the right things with you will have a nice surrogacy process.
You will.
Yeah, when everything's set up correctly, it's gonna go a lot smoother.
I do have one more just follow-up question real quick. When the surrogate gets to the point of delivery, how long do you require the IPs to be in Mexico? Like 2 weeks before due date, a month? Do you require it or no?
Yes, most of the time, the doctor said, oh, well, you have a control, an extreme control of the pregnancy, and doctors say that we estimate the baby will born in 2 weeks, for example.
Okay.
So we let them know the IPs. So we have normally the IPs come to Mexico 7 days before delivery.
And then how long typically on average are they in Mexico before they can get the proper documentation to leave?
6 weeks.
6?
Okay.
6.
Okay. That's not long.
No,
Uh-uh.
great.
And do most of the surrogates breastfeed or pump while the IPs are in Mexico? Yeah.
Aw.
Yes, most of the
Aw.
time they do.
So sweet.
No,
Yeah.
that's very sweet.
It's very sweet.
Yes, but if you don't have milk, even though if
Right.
you have the pump,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If you can, you can, and if you can't, it's not a big deal.
So that 6 weeks or 7 weeks, if it's 1 week before and 6 weeks after, all of those hotel or Airbnb, that's all on the IPs to arrange that. I mean, you guys could give them some listings maybe or whatever, but all of those expenses are not included in that surrogacy fee. That's all on them, right? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Very
Wow.
good. Yeah.
Lovely.
No, amazing.
This has been great.
I know.
Thank you so much.
much.
Especially on a Friday night. I'm so thank you
Oh.
for like hanging out with us.
I know.
It's so nice.
Seriously, thank you. This has
You're
been
welcome.
amazing.
It was my pleasure to
Aw.
support you with this conversation for your channel, or for we always, we don't know who is gonna need this conversation in the future,
Yeah,
as a
right.
But perhaps it's an American girl getting involved in a cross-border process, and she doesn't have no idea how it works.
Right.
You
right.
can contact me. You got my mail, and I'm always here for support. The last thing is, and some bad news of surrogacy in the Mexican newspaper.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I know, but that all needs to go away.
If somebody wants to get a hold, if somebody wants to get a hold of your agency or like wants to become a surrogate with your agency, do you want to give out that information, like where to get you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, information is for everybody.
Okay.
You have my email already. It's contact at mexicosurrogacylaw.com.
There we go.
And Instagram is Mexico Surrogacy Law also.
There we go.
And you can find us there.
Perfect. Yeah, because somebody might be listening to this and go, I really want to talk to her. I just want
Yeah.
them to be able to get to you or be able to get to a message. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially some IPs, because your guys's fees
fees.
are very reasonable for IPs.
Mhm.
Very reasonable.
Very. I could do that if I needed, like I could, like seriously. If I
Yeah,
needed
no.
to pay it,
Yeah.
like I could. It's reasonable, and not in the States. It's exuberant. It's just
Absurd.
blows up, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's absurd. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Anna Marie.
Yes.
We really, 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 really appreciate it.
We do. We so very
You're
much appreciate it.
welcome. You're welcome, Ken and Ellen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice weekend, girls.
You
Have fun
too.
tonight.
We'll
Thank
try.
you. You as well.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Adios.
Okay, that was lovely.
She's so sweet.
She was, yeah.
She's like, and she's so informative. I was shocked because we kept asking her things outside of like law, and like she knew all the answers.
She did well because they're in-house.
I know they're in-house,
all-
but I was just not
that
prepared. I know, but I wasn't prepared to like ask all of like I didn't have that paper in front of me.
I think it went well. Look, I think
No, I
what
think
it
it was
ran about an hour. I mean,
Good.
that's
Are
great.
you timing yourself or something?
No. I'm just there was
She's
so
proud.
much she had to offer. Like so
Yeah.
much, every single thing she said, I was like, didn't know that. Didn't know that. Oh, really? Like, yeah.
I think two of the biggest shockers for me were what their cost.
Yep.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because surrogates here in the United States
Make that
as a compensation.
right. But the compensation for these
No, I know.
surrogates is very low
No, I know.
on the spectrum of things.
No,
but,
I know. I'm just compare. That's the only way I know how to compare.
right.
And then the other one was that the IPs, that is it's so wild to me that the IPs come during visiting hour when the baby is born. Like if I was an IP, I think I would probably be a little sad about it. But I understand their reasonings of protection, and I can vouch for that because gosh, oh gosh, I wish their rules were in my last one.
But in the US, I think it's evolved to it's their baby. They need the bonding time. They need to be able to, let's have a room for them. That's an added charge on the IPs. Like, I don't want to say it's money driven because yes, they've waited this time. They should get some bonding time right away, not just during visiting hours. But I understand from their aspect of it that that's crucial, that you can come, you can bond. Usually you're out within 2 to 4 days, depending if it's a vaginal
sometimes
or
a day. Yeah, sometimes a day if everybody's good to go.
The baby will be in their arms and going with them, but it's almost like it's no nonsense. This is the only thing you get to dispute is when the surrogate is paid, if you want her paid like quicker. But really nothing else. And it was so refreshing when she said, when they start talking about like the food and all this, and she goes, no, just stop. Yeah. No, we're not going to go there. Like, no, they know what they're doing. Right. And I think when you just take a step back and look at it that way, and this is not being negative, it's a business. Yeah. This what works for all parties. And there's going to be no gray lines. There's going to be no gray lines. I'm not going to do this for you and not for you. We're going to do everybody the same.
This, I think how they do it, it works for them so well. And like I said, I would have happily gotten on that train for my last journey because not all go like that. But I know, but I understand their point of view in wanting to protect the surrogate
and the baby.
And the the surrogate and the baby from any possible outcome as such. So, I mean, and she's just a beautiful person. And like, I love that she was so real, raw, and like crazy informative. And we're just like, nah, this is point blank and clear. And no one's being shanghaied. Like it doesn't feel like they're hiding anything. Like they're gonna be like, oh, you're an IP, this is what's gonna happen. Oh, you're a surrogate, this is what's gonna happen if you don't like you don't get to like say like this is that.
And you're and surrogate, you're getting a coordinator that's going to be with you every step of the way. If you need help with your injections at the delivery, she's going to do every appointment. She's doing this, she's doing that, and she's reporting back to the IPs.
Yeah.
Surrogate, you get to live your life.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have this whole set of, oh my gosh, I have to be somebody else for somebody else. You're carrying their baby and you're
Yeah.
doing what you need to be doing.
No, yeah,
You're
yeah.
following all the protocols,
Yeah.
but yet you have this person that's helping you and is there.
Mm-hmm.
When she said that the coordinator called or messages the IPs and says, here's the ultrasound and this is how the appointment went, like what a burden that takes off of the surrogate.
Oh, well, it's just, especially if your couple is international or in
Right.
like, because then they're in a different time zone, and then it's like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, and you know, surrogates are moms, and we're like, we all have so many things in our brain, so it's
Bunch
so
of different
nice to
things.
know that, like, oh, I'm not going to be held accountable to remember to do this, like,
Or if I don't call you 5 seconds after I'm out of the appointment, the
right.
coordinator's
That's
doing it. The
That's what I
coordinator's
mean.
doing
Like,
it.
you don't
Yes.
feel this anxious
Right.
part to you of like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to do this right now or I'm gonna forget. And so,
You
no,
can grow the baby. Yeah. You can do
yeah,
what you're being, I shouldn't say hired to do, what
you're
you're
doing what you signed up to
signed
do.
up to do. Right. And it just takes a lot of the guessing out of it. I think that's where my head is. It takes a lot of the guessing of, okay, do I call them now? Do I wait a day? Not even just for that, but just how much do I contact them? How much do they contact
Yeah.
me? And they take that all off the table. It's
Yeah.
off. Yep.
Yeah. And then it's nice because if you develop some type of relationship in it, then you can go on afterwards to have one. And if you didn't, then you didn't, but there was
Right.
no drama
No drama.
during the journey. So it's got its pros and its cons.
Yeah,
for
sure.
people who are in the US and know how it goes, it's got its pros and its cons.
Absolutely.
I think it has more cons for the IPs.
Okay. But
Just
in the end,
if you compare
yes.
it to us,
Yes.
they're gonna like
Yes.
our
Yes.
people stay in the room right next to us. Like
Correct.
that's a lot.
Yes.
But yeah.
Huh.
No, Anna Maria, you're just
Yes, it's
amazing.
very, very, very informative.
All right. Well, if anybody would like to share their stories or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Stop.Sit.Surrogate.
Okay. It's been Stop, Sit, Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.